Good evening and welcome to Coffee Talk. This is number 218, 7 p.m. Thursday, 5/16 of 2024. Please leave a like to support the channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. And now that I've said that, let's see who comes in. KP Heathen, greetings, my friend from Louisiana. How are you doing, young man? And thank you for the like if that was you. 3 in the house, Joseph Moore. How are you doing, young man? That's cool. Mr. Moore informed me that he got his box a day early, which is great. So if I hadn't had the rainstorm and hail on Monday, I'd have mailed it out Monday, and he would have been scheduled to get it on Thursday. But as it was, I mailed it out Tuesday, and he was scheduled to get it on Friday, but he got it today. So, blessings. Uncle Al, thy bullfrog, I have been watching quite a few of your shorts. You're putting them out. And Isobar, welcome Isobar. Ooh, yawning, 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 yawning. Thank you for the third like. 5 in the house, 4 likes. I need to do I need to do so much it's not funny. But one of the things I need to do is I need to take to heart the latest. I pulled it. It's sitting on a pile. I need to take to heart the latest updates on emergency supplies that FEMA's putting out. And I need to practice what I preach. You know, they like to say, "Do as I say, not as I do." Well, that's not good. You need to walk the walk, and you you need to walk the walk. That's important when it comes to these things. And it's important that you have a good time doing it. Sorry about the yawns. I'm tired. Been a day. I am looking forward to being off on summer vacation after the end of this coming week. Got one more day tomorrow, and then next week, all the finishing stuff. We've been packing the room and organizing stuff and getting stuff done. I hope everybody in here right now, y'all are subscribed to each other, or you're connected to each other. Somebody told me YouTube does not like people talking about subscribing. Well, what do? You know, what's the deal? You want to grow your channel? What are you going to do? Osmosis? We're going to inhale, and automatically everybody's going to be joined. But and they don't like to talk about growth. Well, let's grow together. All those sayings that I like to use, they don't want you to use. Yes, support. Be supportive. If you're not supportive of Isobar, please support Isobar. Joseph Moore, I've shown support. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And hopefully you can take a good picture. I tell my daughter all the time, my daughter who's that I raised, that was with me, that I've had, because her mother and I are married. I was married to my first wife, but that didn't last too long. And I have a daughter with my first wife. She I've raised her to be like me in a lot of ways. She's a female, of course, she's a woman, but I've raised her to have a lot of my qualities, and to think the way I think, you know. And she's very conservative, and she's got a good head on her shoulders. She's got a good education. And I'm very, very proud of her. You know, I can say this is my beloved child in whom I'm well pleased. However, I'm not pleased about her photography, because I keep asking her to send me pictures, and I've got some good pictures of her. But it's like, okay, send me pictures. I want pictures. Like, she goes on a trip someplace with some of her friends, or she goes someplace, and I ask her to send me a picture, and she gets somebody to take a picture of her, and it's like you zoom in on it, and you can barely see the person. She takes these landscape type pictures, where she's in where like a field of bluebonnets or something other, and you can tell, well, is that her? It sort of looks like her. Is that her? You know, and it's like she's way out there, and it's like GD. You know, so when you take a picture, you see how I am right now. I like these pictures. I like these bust shots. Now, you don't want to see the lower part, because that's blubber. But I mean, I'm saying is that you take a picture, you want to see the person's features. Melinda Elliott. Hello, Melinda. I was babbling when you came in. I babble a lot. 5 in the house, 5 likes. I run a playlist last night. Melinda, you were on the playlist, so you got playtime. However, I have not left a comment or a like. I've got to go back through my playlist and leave comments. Let them know full replay, you know, and like. I got to do that. I hadn't done that. And then I need to run another playlist tonight. You know, it's like, but I did, and I'm giving you guys playtime. Those of you that we have a brownout. Oh God, that's horrible. Horrible. Brownouts, not good. The Bud Files. Well, that's SHTF brownouts. We had that. We had a rolling brownout when we had the big freeze here in Texas a couple of years ago. Had the big deep freeze, and a bunch of people died, froze to death. The power grid couldn't generate. They had too much green energy. The turbines were frozen. There wasn't near enough solar coming in, and they had to basically turn sections of the grid off and turn sections on, you know, and rotate it like a brownout for a couple of days because of the power problems. Hopefully they got that taken. Hopefully they've taken care of that. We have no reason to have any shortage of power. You just got to get the tree huggers to shut up when it comes to the use of coal and nuclear and, gas, those things that they hate fossil fuels. Mom of four boys. Welcome, Mom of four boys. So, for those of you who just came in, yeah, I am tired. Sorry about the yawns. Um, Joseph Moore got his box a day early. I told him, take a picture with your box, send it to me, and I'll put it up on my community wall. I do community wall posts every couple of days, every few days. I do some community wall posts, and I'll take the image and I'll put it up on my community wall. Little, you know. Joseph, if you decide to start doing videos, this would be a good time. You could do an unboxing, a mail call video, and have fun with it. And you could put it up and start getting views. Start gathering more subscribers. Everybody starts somewhere. So, Hillbilly Josh Lofton will be the next person to receive a goodie box from me. It'll be in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to let this one percolate a little bit and see how many. I think I've got about 45 views or so since it premiered last night at 6:30. If you want to help me, guys, I put out a short. It's right at 2 days old, and it has 15 views. I mean, it's a nice short. It shows some number 10 cans, freeze-dried beverages, and I put decent music to it, and 15 views. I mean, the YouTube algorithm does not like me. It does not like me. I do not understand. But it is what it is. Ever so often I get a clinker. I did one a couple of weeks back, and it got like 25, 26. I think it's got like 29 views now. That's the least number of views I've ever had a short get. Now this one, I'm at 15 or 16, and it's just really, really, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm working the Black Widow channel. Hello, Black Widow. Snuck in on me. I'm working on getting the school year complete. And I need to do an inventory of what I have. I'm always talking about inventories. And I need to do calculations on different items. How long will they last? How long will they last? I was listening to some experts or knowledgeable people, and they were talking about the CME, the coronal mass ejection. Sounds almost obscene. It's like a big solar flare that happened, and it was supposed to be the biggest one that came towards the Earth since this so-called Carrington event in 1860, when it basically melted the telegraph lines. We didn't have an electrical grid at that time, but we did have a pretty good telegraph grid. That was back when we were really working heavy on the railroads, the telegraph lines. It's when the technology was coming in, and they had this massive electromagnetic event. They called it the Carrington event, 1860, I guess right before the Civil War. And it really, really messed up the telegraph. It melted all the telegraph, wiring and apparatus and everything that they did. So this one was supposed to be really bad. It did not hit. It was like a glancing blow. It did not hit us head on. They're saying if it hit us head on, it could have knocked out the grid. And apparently, our infrastructure is such, it's old. We're not replacing it. We replace what we have to. If something goes out, they fix it and they replace it. But they're not upgrading it. They say for a few $1 billion, which is a hell of a lot of money, but the way we're spending money right now, it's like going out of style, and all the money we're sending overseas to different countries. They say for a few $1 billion, we could protect the power grid against an electromagnetic pulse, whether it be like an EMP from a nuclear bomb going off in the atmosphere, like if one of our enemies wanted to knock out our power grid and really hurt us. They just need to explode a couple of big nukes up in the atmosphere, a certain height up in the atmosphere. It would knock out our power grid. You knock out the power grid, and we go back to the 1800s. And they say it might take a year to get the grid back up. And in that year, they say that 95% of the population would be dead. 95% of the population would die. That would leave if we have a population of 350 million, that would leave us a population of maybe 18 million people for the United States. Now think about that. So, how do you survive the grid going down? How would you survive the grid going down? Hillbilly Josh, welcome. And Joshua Humphrey. Josh, I was saying you're going to be the next one to receive a box from me. It'll probably be a couple of weeks. I have everything. I'm going to let this one percolate for a while. Then I'll do the next one, and it'll be another premiere type thing where I'll do a video and I'll put some images of you in there, your channel. And if I haven't gotten your mailing address and your phone number and everything, if you would check one of my videos for my email address, and please email me. I won't share it with anybody. Email me your mailing address and email me your cell phone number so I can text you. That is, if you haven't already done it. Right now I'm brain dead, so I don't even remember if you might have. Well, I will tell you this. If something did happen to the United States like that, where we lost our tech, it would be people from the heartland. It would be the country folks that would survive. The ones that know how to live off the land, the ones that know how to garden, the ones that know how to farm, the ones that know how to ranch, raise animals, the ones that have, old school skills. They'll be the ones that can, they'll be the ones that will survive. and it'll take care of the illegal problem because I guarantee you the illegals won't live as soon as their government-sponsored debit cards no longer work, and the 2 or 3 days worth of fast food that they have lying around gets eaten. They'll be starving to death. They'll also be looting, and I'm sure a lot of citizens that are quite armed will take care of some of the looters. Unfortunately, some of the looters will get them, but in the long run, 6 months down the road, it'll be a lot nicer place to live. It might be a little bit backwards, but we won't have the problems that we have with a lot of what we have today. And that's in the worst case scenario. Oh, Yoda! 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 How's it going, Dave? My friend, Yoda. You doing okay, son? I'll tell you what, Joshua Humphrey actually said something I could halfway understand. He usually spews some stuff like you wonder. But job, and how much work? Yeah, how much work? A lot of work. A lot of work. And my friend Yoda, Dave, I run one of Echo's live streams last night, and I just need to go back and I know people have been giving me a lot of love because my hours shot up, so I know there are people running my stuff, but you're probably one of them. I appreciate you. Um, but I did. I need to go back and leave a comment that was me, and put a like number to it, and then I'll run another live stream tonight. But I've got 5 or 6 people that I've got to go back and tell them that, hey, last night I run your live stream, and I know she's got at least one more that I hadn't watched, because when I was clicking live streams, I was looking at what I'd viewed, and no, I hadn't viewed that one, and then she had one posted for a future live stream up, so I know that she'll keep them coming. Um, yes, old school. Old school is best. I like those. I like your shorts, Uncle Al. I've watched 5 or 6 of them today, often on during the day. I like the food ones. I like the knives. I like the. I guess that was more of a. You had one that would sort of look like a Boy Scout knife, one of those multi knives. I read. Speaking of scouts, I read that they're changing their name, and now they're becoming a UNA. They're combining with the girls, so now it's going to be Scouting America or some such. They changed it. They have to answer, or they're trying to pay off a big settlement for over the years. Some of these scout masters and these people who work, the adults that work with the scouts, did some very bad things to some of the little boys, you know. And there were some lawsuits, and there's a big. They're trying to. They're basically the organization. I think is bankrupt or is trying to reorganize. There's not as many people in scouting as used to be. Used to be you'd have 5 million kids in scouting at any one time, and right now I think scouting has about 1 million across the country. About a million boys are in scouting, so the numbers are way down. But then also, I was a scout. I was a scout for a couple of years. I didn't have any problems with any pedophile scoutmasters or anything. We didn't have any. Back in the day, there were fathers that were involved with their kids, and if something came up, it would have never got to the police. It probably would have been backwoods justice, and they may or may not have found the body. Somebody tried to molest one of their kids. You know, few of them would have got together, there might have been a hanging. You never know. But nowadays, it's, I don't know. I don't know. But they're dealing with that. You have me read 24/7. Well, God bless you. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to be putting. I've got a couple of more people that I need to get these boxes out to, and then I'm going to be modifying the box and we'll be putting out other stuff. And I'll be sending you and Echo another this summer. I'll be sending y'all another little care package. And and I have to tell you, honest to God, I am sorry. I have your box is sitting right here, as well as a power station that I have not opened. I was going to open up the Blue Eddy Model 70 power station. It's the largest power station. I hadn't opened that one up yet and done the unboxing or the video on that one. And I really need to do a review of the Pecron. My wife took it out with one of our with the Bouge RV 12-volt refrigerator freezer on wheels and everything. You can cart around, and she used that for started last Friday and finished today. So that's like what? How many days is that? Better part of a week. And used it and worked just fine. She said she really needed to take a second one, so it's like, I've got 2 refrigerator freezers, but she only took one, and I need to. It'd be nice to do a double, video on it. I'm doing upgrades right now and stuff. I need to do an inventory of preps that I have. I need to calculate how long would this stuff last for so many people, and then I need to fill in some holes. Tar and feathering, yeah. Tar and feathering, that's an old school they used to do. I guess that was back in the days when the Klan was around. There was a organization called the Ku Klux Klan, and it pretty much got suppressed. Mainly, there's still a few of them out there, running around, wearing sheets. I guess, I don't know. The ones that you got to worry about now are organizations like Antifa. They say that they're anti-fascist, but they're really fascist. And BLM. There's some organization. And you can say that they have good intentions, but I don't necessarily agree. I certainly don't agree with the tactics that's being used. I don't want to get into politics though, but you need to really have a good grip on what you have. You got to calculate what you have. You got to know what you need. What do you need to get by? Well, for one thing, nobody can survive without water. Now, whether it's just water or whether it's some sort of, you got beverage powder in it, or you got powdered milk in it, or it's coffee, or it's tea, or it's whatever, you got to have liquid. And in order to be well, you got to be hydrated. But then also it's got to be clean water. Can't be contaminated water, can't be dirty water, can't be bad because you get sick or it could kill you. So many people have died of dysentery, more people died from disease and bad food and bad water during the Civil War than died in fighting. That's a fact. So you got to have water. You got to have a good quantity of water, and you got to have a supply of it, and you got to have a way to If it, you got to be able to treat it. If the plants go down and they're not treating the water and it's not coming out of the tap, what are you going to do to have clean water? You got to really think about that. You take medication. How big? How much medication do you have? Right now, I have about 5 months worth of my medication. I take blood pressure medication. I have about a 5 month supply. I take 6 different pills every day. I've got about a 5 month supply of it, a little over a 5 month supply of it. I really, if I'm going to talk the talk and walk the walk and all that sort of stuff, I really need at least a year's supply of my medication. Because I'd be in a bad way if I run out of it, you know, with my conditions I have. So you got to think about that. You got to build a supply of medication. If you take medication that keeps you going, you got to have a supply of it. And normally you can get a doctor that will write you a script for a year's worth of medication. Now the way the insurance works, at least the way my insurance works, is that every quarter, every 3 months, I get a 90-day supply of medication, automatically refilled, and it's good for a year. The insurance pays for it. I don't pay anything for my medication. Now, at one time, I checked what my medication was going for, and of the 6 medications I take, 5 of them are relatively cheap. One of them is about $200 a month. If I was to just go and buy that particular medication, it would be $200 for a 30-day supply of it. Last time I checked. And that's one of my blood pressure medications. So, Belinda's Country Living. Belinda, welcome. So it is important the Oregon Trail. Uncle Al, I've got bottled water that I've had stored for a couple of years. You store it properly, you don't have to worry about it. Now, it might taste a little funny, and therefore you treat it. You can treat bottled water. You can treat bottled water. Um, so having a good inventory, knowing what you have, and knowing how long it will last. Um, if you have the money, if you shop right, you want to try to acquire some freeze-dried food. Freeze-dried lasts a long time. If you don't use it, you store it properly, it'll be good 30 years down the road. Best by date. Just because something passes the best by date does not mean it's bad. Best by date, they put best by date on honey. Honey will recrystallize. You got to melt it. They found pots of honey that are a couple thousand years old, and it's edible. Just gotta recrystal. You just gotta melt it and it's crystallized. You gotta melt it and put it back in a liquid form. There are there are there are foods that will store a long time. You need to look into what those are, and you need to purchase foods and beverages and powders that you will use. And it's a good idea if you're already using them. Like, if you don't like to eat oatmeal, why would you store oatmeal unless you're getting it for somebody that does like to eat it? I eat oatmeal all the time. You know, I eat it all the time. Oatmeal will store a long time. You get freeze dried oats, whole oats. You can use it to make flour. You can cook it. It's good to eat. You know. My daughter likes the whole oats, the whole oats. She doesn't like the instant oatmeal like the packets that I buy. I get lots of the oatmeal that you open up a couple of packets, put hot water in it, reconstitute it, and let it stir it up, let it sit for a few minutes, and it thickens up, and then you got a good meal. I usually will put a little bit of honey in with it. Sometimes I'll put a little cream in with it. Put a little bit of milk in with it. It's a good meal, you know. It's a good meal. It's not expensive. You don't have to spend a lot of money to eat. You can eat on the cheap, and you can eat decently on the cheap. Yeah, diarrhea and dysentery. You got to watch out for that. I won't be making cooking videos for a while. I'm taking care of Wilma. I'll be taking her home tomorrow, so we'll stay with her around the clock. Rehab won't take you. Well, God bless you, Belinda. And God bless Wilma. I sometimes I have little flashes of memory from my past. When my mom was quite old, she was 80ish at the time, and she asked me one time why I took such good care of her. And I told her, and this is from the heart, I said, I'm just paying you back. You took care of me when I was little. When I was growing up, you took care of me, and now it's my turn to take care of you. Upbringing, honor, upbringing. Very, very important. One day we're all going to be real old. I'm getting there, you know. And I was thinking, I can remember, I have memories of being a little kid and thinking about, is this going to happen to me? Is this what I have to look forward to? Am I going to live to be old? I used to question that. Would I live to be old? I used to worry about, are we going to get in a nuclear war? Back in the 70s, back in the 80s. I used to worry about that. Am I going to die because some idiot decided to, start World War III? Well, cherish her while you have her. Cherish her while you have her. And when Melinda says she won't be making cooking videos, I tell you what, there's a lot into cooking, and there's a lot into making a video. It's not just like wham bam. You know, it you really got to put care into it. You want to make a quality. If you want to make a video the way Belinda makes a video, a quality video that people, she gets hundreds of likes on her videos. You got to really put care into it. You got to plan it right. You got to shoot it right. You got to put it together right. And it takes time. It takes time. Like when I put together one of my box videos, if you notice sometimes I'm wearing different clothes because I shot a segment today, I'll shoot another segment tomorrow. I have something I put together. You know, maybe there will be one or two of my recent shorts that I put together. It'll have different music in it. I make a little change to it. I put that in there. I mean, it takes me a little time putting putting a few graphics in it. It takes a little time. Takes a little time to put together. You put together a 15, 16-minute video and you got different shots and such. And I mean, I'm not scripting it, but I basically know what I want to say, and I'm, ad lib from the cuff, shoot a little bit of it, look at it. You got to edit it. You cut out this. You want your transitions to look good. It is what it is. 10 likes. Right now I'm showing 7 in the house. Yeah, I don't script either. I don't script. Well, I'll make a couple of comments. I don't know if he's going to make it to his convention, and they may put somebody else up at the convention. I don't know who it'd be. I mean, as far as that goes, Trump, he's old. He could pass away tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen. He's mentally sharp. They take care of him. He's in better shape than Biden is by far mentally. I think when they trot Biden out for something major, I think they give him some sort of cocktail to sort of spike his make him sharper. They give him some sort of medication that temporarily boosts him, boosts his energy, boosts his mental acuity a little bit, to where he you can tell there's a difference. But still, some of the stuff he says, he talks about stuff he doesn't know anything about. He also talks about stuff that's not true. Whether he's intentionally lying, or he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he remembers something differently. He's always talking about the Republicans like they're the party of slavery. It was actually the Democrats that were the party of slavery. They always talk about Dr. King, Dr. King, Dr. King. They seem to forget Dr. King back in the 60s. Dr. King was a Republican. They forget that. They always badmouth the Republicans. Well, a lot of people are opening their eyes. Back in the days, before he ran for office, Trump was very popular. At one time, Trump was a Democrat. Black people loved him, Hispanics loved him, everybody loved him. Oh, but then he decided to become a Republican. He ran as a populist Republican. Oh, he's the Antichrist. He's racist. I mean, all the money he donated and all the good stuff he did for black folks. And now all of a sudden you got people like Sharpton and others coming out talking about how Trump is racist. But now you got very, very affluent, very influential black people endorsing him and saying, you don't want Biden. That's happening. Same thing with Hispanics. More and more of them are waking up to know, the way that they're treating the way that they're catering to the illegals. You think they're helping the black folks? You think they're helping the homeless folks? You think they're helping the Hispanics? Yeah, the Hispanics that are illegals. But, and then they talk about, well, the Republicans want to cut Medicare and they want to cut Social. They're not the ones talking about the cuts. It's the damn Democrats. They're the ones that want to cut things. They want to raise things, but they want to cut things. They love raising taxes. Oh, they're going to raise the taxes to pay bills. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to raise taxes so they have more money to spend. You think they're going to pay the bills? Or they're going to pay down the debt? Nope. Nope, I don't think that's going to happen. Kelly Singh. Two presidents in history of the presidency have donated their salaries. Those two presidents were John F. Kennedy and Donald Trump. Both of them, each quarter, they would donate their salary, their presidential salary, to a different charity. Very few people know that. Very few people talk about that. But yeah, he donated his. Trump came out of office. He lost about $1 billion worth of his worth. Went down about $1 billion while he was in office. He wasn't able to touch any of his stuff. He didn't have anything to do with any of his stuff. His corporations, companies, his net worth went down about $1 billion. Well, what's funny? What's funny is California was never a slave state. Like, Illinois, they talk about they want to give reparations, California wants to give reparations, New York wants to give reparations. The areas that want to give reparations never had slaves and never were slave states. They were always free states. Anybody who ever owned a slave is dead. Anybody whose parent ever owned a slave is dead. Anybody whose grandparent ever owned a slave is dead. As far as America goes, slavery still exists over in Africa. They still have slavery. They enslave each other. When the slave trade was going on, you would have these kingdoms, these sub-Saharan kingdoms and such, fight each other, and they would take prisoners, and then they would sell them as slaves. They'd sell the prisoners as slaves. The Portuguese were real good along the African coast of buying slaves. They'd go in, they'd buy slaves that were prisoners of war, and they would transport them to the Americas. And they would sell them. Slavery existed for over 100 years. Black slavery existed for over 100 years before the British colonies were founded. And then they started bringing in slaves after a few years, and the colonies were established. The southern colonies started they started people started buying slaves that were delivered in the slave trade. I know what they want, and I know, Callie. There's a lot of bad things happening. You got people voting for a lot of bad things. You've got a lot of woke liberals, you know, um, that they hate that they're whatever, and that 100 years ago somebody might have done something other or owned something other, in their ancestry, and it's just killing them, you know. So let's destroy ourselves because of what happened in the past. Yeah, we live with that crap. We really do. Uh, 3 in the house, 10 likes. Seems like we run off a bunch of people. A lot of people didn't like what we were talking about, I guess. Well, I see you're still with me, Melinda. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll also say this. Our problem, and I'm sure Melinda, you know this, it's the big cities. That's where all like you have a state like California, it's got 4 or 5 huge cities, and that's where all the majority of the people are that vote. So you have these little small areas. They're big areas, but they're small areas compared to the state, and all the rural areas are red. You know, it's where the big cities are: Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, um, San Diego. San Diego's a little more conservative, but still, you got you have the huge cities like, I mean, in Illinois, Chicago. That's the big blue blob area, and most of the rest of the state is red. You got New York City, you got Rochester, you got 2 or 3 municipalities where all of you know, you got all the blue, that's where the blue is, and the rural areas are red. So if you look at a map of the United States, and if you look at the areas that are red versus blue, there aren't that many blue areas. They're blue pockets, highly populated pockets. And then the rest of it is pretty much red. Um, Thank you, Uncle Al. Appreciate you. God bless you. At this point, it's pretty much ice water, leftovers from my supper. I had a cheeseburger combo from a mom and pop place here, and they call it a big burger with fries, a combo with a drink, and brought my wife a steak burger, fries, and a drink. She likes red sodas, and I tend to drink, you know, Diet Cokes, Coke Zeros, that kind of stuff. Yeah, mega regions, that's right. So, Tomorrow's Friday. Got a weekend coming up. I'll do some community wall posts. Joseph, send me that picture, and I will see about posting on my community wall. I'll shout out the people that were in here tonight. Right now, looking at what I had, I think I had about 13 people came in and identified themselves. And I'll try to link them on one of my posts. If you haven't had if you haven't had the time, look at my last short. It's only got like 13, 14 views. I don't understand that. It's basically some freeze-dried beverages, number 10 cans. I put them together, took some images of them, put it to music, and it flopped. I don't understand it. YouTube is not sharing it out. Well, you know, if you looked at the Revelations, you know, if you believe we're living towards the latter days, end times, um, 1/3 of the world's population will be wiped out in the end time plagues before the Lord returns. You know, it's Book of Revelation. You read it. Thank you, Little Long Pepper. Appreciate it. I don't doubt it. Kids, I tend to disappear back into my man cave, and I got a couch right here. You know, when the kids got kids over, and the kids are now in their 20s. You know, so it's like these are kids, but they're not little kids. You know, that's the way things go as we age. I hit 62 this last month, about 2.5 weeks ago. I don't look like anything that I did when I was young. You can't recognize me. I really don't think you'd recognize me. So, every day when you wake up, thank the Lord for the day. Thank God for the day. You don't know how many days you have. And say the Lord's Prayer. It was the Lord's Prayer. He said this is the prayer, you know, our Father. Life is good. It's a truism. Life is good. Some people say it's not good, but what's the alternative? Death? Is death good? Life is good, but you know, life is what it is. It is what it is. It's another truism. Honor your parents. They may be gone, but you can honor them by being honorable. Treat people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule: do unto others as you want others to do unto you. When you see first responders, thank them for their service. I stop down at Speedy Stop every morning. I get coffee. I'm part of that coffee club now. My daughter got that for me for my birthday. $10 a month, I get all the coffee I want. So I take advantage of it. And I see law enforcement down there, sheriff's deputies, police officers. I thank them for their service. Sometimes they're a little surprised. You know, thank them for their service. They're risking their lives. I will plan on being back tomorrow at 7 for another edition of Coffee Talk. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Everybody have a blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.